Welcome to Fan for Racing Radio. I'm Fan for Racing Sharon, and joining me today is Jay Huseman, and we are here for the Michigan review for the NASCAR Truck Series. And what a race it was, Jay. 3 overtime finishes.
It was. Yeah, it was. And I didn't know when you had the opportunity to watch the race. I didn't want to spoil it by sending you anything prior to knowing you had seen it. But I was listening to it on the radio, got home, and I got to actually watch the last 20-some laps plus overtime. It was a great, amazing race. The finish was horrendous, but I love the outcome, if that makes sense. So we'll dive into that.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from with that, for sure. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it then for the NASCAR Truck Series. Stewart Friesen broke a winless streak. It was a thrilling triple overtime NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at Michigan. Stewart Friesen hosted his first trophy of the season on Saturday afternoon's triple overtime DQS Solutions and Staffing 250 at Michigan International Raceway, a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race that didn't want to end, ultimately featuring 24 extra laps. That's incredible. Stewart Friesen won that race. It was the series return after a 5-year absence from the schedule, was more than a typical truck race. It saw a red flag for repairs to the wall and 3 overtime restarts. When all was said and done, the race tied the record as the longest truck series in history, logging in at 139 laps and 278 miles, rather than the scheduled 250. As for Friesen, he took the top spot following the final restart attempt and paced the final 2 laps. The win was his first of the season, the first at Michigan, and the 4th of his career. The win ended a 72-race winless streak for the Canada native, and Grant Enfinger finished in second, followed by Luke Fenhouse in third. Fenhouse started from the pole and capped his day with a career best finish. Then it was Ben Rhodes, Corey LaJoie, Matt Crafton, Jake Garcia, Chandler Smith, Andreas Perez, Lane Riggs, and they were the ones who finished out the top 10. Corey Heim won stages 1 and 2, but ended up finishing 18th in the race after being involved in a 10-truck wreck on lap 122. There were 20 lead changes among 11 drivers and 9 cautions for 47 yellow flag laps. The average speed of the race was 112.792 miles per hour, and the highest finishing rookie of the race was Andreas Perez de Lara, who finished in 9th place. The fastest lap award goes to the number 45 on lap 93 at 38.93. And I believe the 45, I'm trying to think.
Caden Honeycutt. That's what I was looking to verify that. Yeah, it's Caden Honeycutt.
Caden Honeycutt in that number 45 did have the fastest lap of the race. So again, the margin of victory on this one, Jay, was 0.111. So it was close.
It was. And like I said, of how this all played out, first off, I love the fact that Stewart Friesen got a win. He has had a heartbreak of a season. He showed it in some of his interviews, how beat down and heartbroken he was, and the struggle of, what next. So he only led once for 2 laps, again, in that melee. I don't know what else you would call it. But what goes around comes around. So I'm not saying he's had a win get away from him early in the year, but certainly had some very, very good runs go south on him and just not have the opportunity. So that part of it was great to see. And as I said, how I would have taglined this race after watching the finish was a great, amazing race, horrible finish, but I love the outcome. Again, Stewart Friesen, He's one of those, I think all fans, I mean, honestly, just all fans would love to see, especially there. They were talking about being a Canadian driver, being up in Michigan or the Northeast, where we do get a lot of Canadian fans, kind of the hometown track, if you will, even though it's not in Canada. So it was great to see that. And I love the fact that that's how it's going to shuffle up the points. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But overall, like I said, I don't like the way the restarts went. And I know you said NASCAR kind of addressed that going into the Cup Series race then.
Yes.
And I understand that. They want to see good, clean racing. Up until then, though, in those final 20 laps, and I'll talk about it more with the Cup Series, the racing we saw, swapping of positions from first to 36 all the way through the field. I mean, just great racing. And I'd say clean racing up until it wasn't.
I think his second best finish, Frankie Muniz in 14th place. I was so happy for him. And he says he thinks he blew a top finish because he restarted in third gear. So that kind of messed things up, I think, as well. But he was so happy he was running up in the top 5.
He's another one that just, the way the season has gone, I'm sure they take that 14th place, even though it could have been better, as a win. Because, the kind of season they've had, it's just been that kind of year, unfortunately. Talk about some of the other heartbreak. Stewart Friesen didn't get the heartbreak this week. He came out on the good end of it. Grant Enfinger had one of the better trucks, had a shot at winning it a couple of times, if you will. Led 3 times for 31 laps. He was up there all day. The other one, Corey LaJoie, coming back to Spire Motorsports. Home with a 5th place finish. Again, was in contention in the top 2, 3, battling it out, just the way those restarts went and kind of shuffling around. 10th place, and this is one, and I said it on the preview show, and I thought I was going to get to pat myself on the head, but Lane Riggs, another one. Didn't lead laps, but had one of the stronger trucks and was up there in contention until the end. And oddly enough, of one of the more aggressive drivers that wasn't involved in the aggression of the restarts.
Yes. It's kind of amazing. We had several accidents in this race. So I might as well get started on that, Jay, unless you have something more to say.
The only other thing there, a couple other drivers that got top 5s out of it, or top 6, I guess it looks like. Ben Rhodes in 4th and Matt Crafton in 6th. And we'll talk about Ben Rhodes when it comes to the points. Matt Crafton, a veteran, still having a run solid, but we haven't seen him up top 5 and battling for wins as of recent. So again, kind of a highlight there for them. It
was indeed. And let me just go ahead and get started with the ones that did not have a good day. Let's start with Norm Benning. He finished last. He was out on lap 3 because of an engine issue, Jay. Raja Karuth had an accident, was out of the race on lap 77. Also, on lap 83, it was Nathan Bird and Morgan Bayard, both out due to an accident. On lap 126, I believe it was Lawless Allen and Daniel Hemrick. Both of them were out. On lap 128, it was Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain was actually out due to the damaged vehicle policy. The other 2 were out because of the accident. So that's quite a few drivers. That's positions 26 through 32 were all out because of accidents. Then you've got 25 cars all finishing the race. Only 18 of those cars finished all 139 laps. So kind of an interesting layout there. Dawson Sutton, I wanted to shout out to him. He had a top 13 finish as well. So one of the better rookies of the race. 4 really good finishes for 4 of the rookies. I think those last ones on lap 126 and lap 128, those are all because of the restart, weren't they?
Actually, go back to Daniel Hemrick and Lawless Allen. They were in what it might not have been the first restart, but it was the what led to the restart. So you're talking about what would have been 28 out of the 32 trucks in it at the end before the restart melee started. And I didn't realize that until now when I was looking at that those that are listed out from 28th up were part of the final melee of the restart. So realistically, you were looking at possibly having 28 out of 32 trucks finish lead lap or only one lap down had we not had the restart issues, but we did. So
we did indeed. So a lesson learned, hopefully, from the drivers.
Right, and you mentioned that they carried that over to the Cup Series on the restart, and Sharon and I were just talking about it. Some people want to point the finger at Ross Chastain. I get that. He was the leader, got pushed from behind saying he didn't go. He was holding the field up. There's two sides to that. I'm not saying you're wrong, but it's also the leader that controls the race. So they have the right to bring them into the starting zone and fire when they want. It's one of those, unfortunately, I say is a racing deal. You're not allowed to brake check or you're supposed to maintain an even speed. And I believe that he did that because NASCAR didn't say they were going to penalize him, which he ended up out of the race. Penalty is mute at that point, but they didn't address it as far as a restart violation, we'll just say.
Right. It's not a restart violation, Jay, but I will say this. The cars that are further back cannot see him. So when they're thinking about the restart of the race, they're thinking about accelerating. And you get that accordion effect when the front doesn't get started and the back is starting to accelerate. So that's the problem with that kind of a start for the race. And that's why it ends up in an accident.
Well, and I will say this, the broadcasters pointed out a very great observation of, say it's a mid-race restart, you got half the race yet, the aggression level of second on or third on back as they're in the second row, on back isn't going to be as big. When you know you only got 3 laps to get it done, even with a big track like Michigan, 6 miles, but they got to get up to speed. Yeah, there ain't time to do a slow start. If that happens mid-race, everybody's like, all right, we'll just wait it out and get going and work our way around them or whatever. But yeah, on a last overtime restart, it's all about go. So
exactly.
That not that, and that's what
he's not going. It makes it tough,
right? So yeah, again, is that within the leaders? In this case, it was Chastain. His right, yes, maybe not the best time to have tried to utilize that option with a restart in overtime. Everybody's all about go, so maybe should have chosen a better time to have done that.
So yeah, that's the only thing I can see that it created a problem for. Okay, anything else you want to point out before we move on to the points, Jay?
No, I don't think so. Again, like I said, overall, I thought the racing was great. I hope we see the Truck Series continue to come to Michigan. I know that's one of those tracks now only has one date on the Cup Series. I think it's a great facility. We talked about the camping around there if you want to go and spend the weekend there in the Irish Hills. So I thought it was a great weekend overall. Like I said, the restart issue, and I get it. It's racing. It happens. And, we all have our favorite drivers. We want to blame others and point the fingers at some. It's all part of racing.
I do like Ross, but I think in this particular case, it was a bad timing for him to be doing that.
And that's where I would have to agree with you, Sharon, there. It's not that it was wrong, but maybe not the best time to have tried that move.
Okay, so let's go ahead and cover the series point standings because, Corey Heim is making history with this points lead. I don't think that there's ever been a points lead this big.
Certainly not. And actually, Chandler Smith would have closed the gap based on his finish to where Corey Heim did, but it is still a 133-point lead. He has 31 playoff points built up. Chandler Smith second with 11. That's already a 20-point deficit. And Not, I don't think it's a mathematical lock as of yet, but if Corey Heim wins the regular season championship, he'll get 15 points. Chandler Smith would only get 10. That's another gap increase of 5 more. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough.
Behind him, this is where it gets interesting. Right now, Daniel Hemrick still in third with 1 win and 5 playoff points. Grant Enfinger, no victories yet on the year, although he's come so close. Does have 2 playoff points built up. Tyler Ankrum with the win and 6 playoff points in 5th. Lane Riggs in 6th, the second driver there with no victories, but has, again, been so close. Then we get into 7th is Caden Honeycutt. 8th is Ty Majeski, your defending champion. 8th, good place in points, right? 393 points. Hold on to that thought. Jake Garcia's in 9th at 389, 4 points behind him. Stewart Friesen is now the 10th listed driver, has a victory, so he's guaranteed to stay in the top 10. Drop down to line 13, you got Rajah Caruth, who has a victory, so that means you got to put him into the playoffs of the top 10, which would push out Stewart Friesen. Oh, wait, you can't push him out. He just got a victory. So then you got to go to Jake Garcia in 9th, which means Ty Majeski in 8th is on the cut line bubble by 4 points.
You've got 2 drivers there that are going to be pushing the other 2 out. And we talked about this scenario, this exact scenario, Jay, and there's only 5 races left now to fill the remaining spots. I think we have what? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 10 spots filled.
It is. It's getting really tight, and especially then when it comes to these points. Now, Ty Majeski is one we have seen, wins races. Behind them, though, mentioned Ben Rhodes. He is 11th at 338. To get to that cut line of Ty Majeski, that's almost 60 points in 5 races. That's a big hill to overcome, barring some issues. So he may be getting
make it easy by just winning.
There you go. That's exactly what I was going to say. You're right. He is not a have to, but looking like a win is going to be his way in. Because, like I said, even if he's running good top 5, we saw that Ben Rhodes actually had a top 5 or top finish, but lost points, a lot of points, because of that jump by Stewart Friesen with the victory. So you can't depend on that. We're getting down to crunch time. Like I said, it's not a mathematical have to, but you're getting really close.
You're getting really close, and a lot can happen. The upcoming races, I was just looking at this. The next race for them is going to be at Pocono, I believe. And then Lime Rock Park. Then they're going to be at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and then Watkins Glen. So, and then they'll close out their season on August the 15th at Richmond. So only 5 races left, and this is going to be a done deal for the Truck Series for their regular season.
And of the 2 you listed there, I wouldn't call them necessarily wild cards, but they can be some differing results when you talk about Watkins Glen, the road course, as well as Indianapolis Raceway Park, a short track. And then that finale, Richmond. That one we've seen. It's been a while since we've seen what I'd say a really exciting race when it comes to that. I think back to drivers like Casey Kane racing their way in the Cup Series. You know, we may have that scenario where it comes down to either racing your way in points or getting that last victory. It is a short track, a 3.7 or 0.75, 3/4 mile track. So that tends to lead to short track racing action, and that can change things up in a heartbeat.
Well, let us not forget, too, that Lime Rock Park is a road course event.
And so that one is more of a wild card than anything because, again, they haven't been there. So that will be interesting for sure. And I am excited to see that one on the track, no doubt, or on the schedule, that track on the schedule.
Exactly. So this is winding down, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Only 4 spots left in the truck series with 5 races left to run. So it's pretty exciting. Okay, now do watch for more. We did earlier the ARCA Menard Series review at Michigan. Coming up is our Cup Series review at Michigan. And then tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, Jay, you and Chris Crichton will join me for Hot Topic Sound Off conversation. And that's usually a lively interaction between the 3 of us.
Well, it will be for sure. I don't know where Chris stands, but I know he's going to have to. We're talking about the truck series next year. We're going to have to dodge the competition.
Okay, so we'll look forward to talking about all of that. And we've got a few more to add to the list that are not up there yet. But do join us. You can join the conversation with us via the live chat that is available during the live stream. So we encourage people to make your comments known so that we can give you a shout out on our Hot Topic Sound Off show tonight. So do take part.
And if you're on my side of the conversation against Chris, please let me know so we can gang up on him.
Okay, and as always, we do appreciate everybody taking the time to tune in to hear our banter and our reviews and previews and our Hot Topic Sound Off, as well as interviews. We do have a few other interviews coming up, so stay tuned for those as well. So we'll look forward to seeing everybody in our next video, Jay.
All right, looking forward to it. Yep.
Take care now.